What happens when one of the biggest superstars in entertainment sits down for what should be a routine interview, only to find herself face to face with a host who seems determined to tear her down? The tension in Studio 6B was so thick, you could cut it with a knife. And what started as typical celebrity banter quickly spiraled into one of the most uncomfortable television moments in recent memory. Before we dive into this explosive encounter, make sure you subscribe and drop a comment below with your thoughts on celebrity interviews gone wrong. Jennifer Lopez walked into the Kelly Clarkson show, expecting the usual softball questions about her latest projects, maybe some light conversation about her personal life, the kind of friendly chat that fills daytime television slots across America. She had done hundreds of these interviews over her decades-long career, and Kelly Clarkson had always seemed like one of the safer hosts, someone who kept things upbeat and positive. But from the moment Jennifer settled into that familiar guest chair, something felt different about this particular taping. Kelly opened with her trademark smile, the one that had charmed audiences for years. But there was something calculating behind her eyes that Jennifer picked up on immediately. "Jennifer, welcome to the show," Kelly began, her voice carrying that slight southern drawl that made her seem so approachable. "I have to say, you look absolutely stunning as always. I mean, you never seem to age, do you?" "Thank you, Kelly," Jennifer replied, crossing her legs and adjusting her designer blazer. "You know, I work hard to take care of myself. It's all about discipline and consistency." "Oh, discipline," Kelly repeated, leaning back in her chair with a knowing look. "That's interesting because I've been hearing some pretty wild stories about just how disciplined you really are behind the scenes. Care to share some of those discipline techniques with our audience?" Jennifer's smile faltered slightly. She had been in this business long enough to recognize when an interview was about to take a turn, and Kelly's tone had shifted from warm to pointed in a matter of seconds. "I'm not sure what you mean by wild stories, Kelly. I think you might be confusing me with someone else." "Am I, though?" Kelly pressed, her smile never wavering, but her eyes growing sharper. "Because I've been doing my homework, and some of the people who've worked with you have some pretty interesting things to say about your work ethic. And by interesting, I mean concerning." The studio audience, which had been buzzing with excitement just moments before, began to sense the shift in energy. Jennifer could feel hundreds of eyes on her, watching as this conversation took an unexpected turn. She had faced hostile interviewers before, but this felt different. This felt personal. "Kelly, I'm not sure what you're getting at," Jennifer said, her voice maintaining its professional tone despite the growing tension. "I've always been known for my professionalism and my commitment to excellence. If you have specific questions about my work, I'm happy to address them." "Professionalism," Kelly mused, tapping her finger against her coffee mug. "That's a loaded word, isn't it? I mean, what does professionalism look like when you're making your backup dancers rehearse until 3 o'clock in the morning? What does professionalism look like when you're screaming at sound engineers because the reverb on your microphone isn't exactly to your liking?" Jennifer's jaw tightened. These weren't random accusations. These were specific incidents that had happened during her recent tour rehearsals. Someone had been talking, and Kelly had clearly done more than just casual research. "I think there's been some miscommunication about those situations," Jennifer said carefully. "Rehearsals can be intense, and sometimes, in the pursuit of perfection, emotions can run high." "Emotions can run high," Kelly repeated with a small laugh. "That's one way to put it. But let's talk about perfection for a minute. Is perfection worth humiliating people in front of their colleagues? Is perfection worth making grown adults cry because they can't hit a dance move exactly the way you want it?" The audience was dead silent now. This wasn't the Kelly Clarkson show they were used to watching. This was something else entirely, something that felt more like a confrontation than an interview. Jennifer could feel her publicist shifting uncomfortably in the wings, probably wondering if she should intervene. "Kelly, I think you're painting a very unfair picture of who I am and how I work," Jennifer said, her voice growing colder. "I've been in this industry for over 2 decades, and I've worked with thousands of people. If I was really this terrible person you're describing, don't you think that would have caught up with me by now?" "Maybe it has," Kelly shot back, her smile finally fading. "Maybe that's exactly what's happening right now. Maybe all those people who were too afraid to speak up before are finally finding their voice." Jennifer felt her heart rate quicken. This wasn't just an ambush. This was a calculated attack. Kelly had clearly orchestrated this entire segment with the intention of making her look bad. And the worst part was that it was happening in front of a live studio audience and cameras that would broadcast this humiliation to millions of viewers. "I don't know what kind of show you think you're running here," Jennifer said, her composure finally beginning to crack. "But this isn't journalism, Kelly. This is a hit job." "A hit job?" Kelly's eyebrows shot up in mock surprise. "I'm just asking questions, Jennifer. Isn't that what interviews are for? Or are you only comfortable when everyone's telling you how amazing you are?" The condescension in Kelly's voice was unmistakable now. Gone was any pretense of this being a friendly chat between two entertainment industry professionals. This had become something much more personal, much more vicious. "You know what, Kelly?" Jennifer said, uncrossing her legs and leaning forward slightly. "I came here today as a courtesy. I didn't have to do this interview. I have a million other things I could be doing with my time. But I thought it would be fun to sit down with someone I respected, someone I thought was a professional. And now," Kelly challenged, clearly enjoying the fact that she had gotten under Jennifer's skin. "Now I'm wondering if I made a mistake," Jennifer replied, her voice steady, but her eyes flashing with anger. "Because the Kelly Clarkson I thought I knew wouldn't ambush a guest like this. The Kelly Clarkson I thought I knew had class." The word class hung in the air like a slap. Kelly's smile disappeared completely, replaced by something much harder, much more vindictive. "Class," she repeated slowly. "That's rich coming from someone who throws tantrums when the green room doesn't have exactly the right temperature." "That's not true," Jennifer said sharply. "Isn't it?" Kelly countered. "Because I have witnesses who say otherwise. I have people who've worked on your sets, who've catered your events, who've dealt with your demands, and they paint a very different picture than the one you're trying to sell here today." Jennifer could feel the walls closing in. Every word Kelly spoke felt like it was designed to humiliate her, to tear down the image she had spent decades building. And the worst part was that some of what Kelly was saying contained grains of truth. Moments from her career that she wasn't proud of. Incidents that had been blown out of proportion, but that she couldn't completely deny. "Kelly, I don't know what your endgame is here," Jennifer said, her voice barely controlled. "But whatever point you're trying to make, you've made it. Can we please move on to something else?" "Oh, we're just getting started," Kelly said, with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Because I think our audience deserves to know who they're really looking at when they see Jennifer Lopez on their screens." The studio lights seemed to burn hotter as Kelly's words settled over the audience like a toxic cloud. Jennifer could feel sweat beginning to form at her temples, not from the heat, but from the sheer audacity of what was happening. She had walked into what she thought was a friendly daytime talk show and found herself in the middle of a public execution. "What exactly do you think our audience deserves to know, Kelly?" Jennifer asked, her voice dropping to a dangerously quiet level. "Because from where I'm sitting, it sounds like you've already made up your mind about who I am without giving me a chance to speak for myself." Kelly leaned back in her chair, clearly relishing the moment. "Oh, you'll get your chance to speak. In fact, I'm dying to hear how you explain some of these stories. Like the time you allegedly made an entire camera crew reshoot a commercial because you didn't like how your hair looked in one shot. A shot that lasted 3 seconds. Allegedly," Jennifer repeated, seizing on the word. "So, you're admitting you don't actually know if that happened." "I have multiple sources," Kelly said dismissively. "People who were there, people who saw it happen. Multiple sources who conveniently chose to remain anonymous." "I'm sure," Jennifer shot back. "How convenient for you, Kelly. You get to make accusations without having to back them up with actual names or proof." Kelly's smile flickered for just a moment. "Are you calling me a liar, Jennifer?" "I'm calling you unprofessional," Jennifer replied without hesitation. "This isn't how interviews work, Kelly. You don't ambush your guests with gossip and hearsay and then act like you're doing some kind of public service." The audience was completely silent now, frozen in their seats as they watched two powerful women tear each other apart on live television. Some people had their phones out, undoubtedly recording every second of this train wreck for social media. "Gossip and hearsay," Kelly mused. "Is that what you call it when people share their experiences working with you? Because I've got more than just stories about tantrums and diva behavior. I've got stories about how you treat people who can't fight back." Jennifer felt a chill run down her spine. "What are you talking about?" "I'm talking about the young assistant who quit after working for you for exactly 6 days, Kelly said, her voice taking on a theatrical quality. "I'm talking about the makeup artist who had a panic attack because you screamed at her for using the wrong shade of lipstick. I'm talking about the pattern of behavior that shows who you really are when the cameras aren't rolling." "Stop," Jennifer said firmly. "Just stop right there." "Why?" Kelly challenged. "Because I'm getting too close to the truth." "Because you're lying," Jennifer said, her voice rising slightly. "You're sitting here making up stories about me, about people I've supposedly hurt, and you're doing it for what? Ratings? Is that what this is about? Are you so desperate for attention that you're willing to destroy someone's reputation on national television?" Kelly's eyes flashed with anger. "I'm not making anything up, Jennifer. These are real people with real stories, and they deserve to be heard. Then why aren't they here?" Jennifer demanded. "If these people have such terrible stories about me, why aren't they sitting in that chair telling them themselves? Why do they need you to speak for them?" "Because they're afraid of you," Kelly said simply. "They're afraid of what you might do to their careers if they speak out publicly." Jennifer laughed, but there was no humor in it. "Afraid of me? Kelly, do you hear yourself? I'm a singer and actress. I'm not some mob boss. I don't have the power to ruin anyone's career. Don't you? Kelly pressed. You don't think having Jennifer Lopez badmouth you in this industry could hurt someone's prospects? You don't think your influence, your connections, your reputation could make life difficult for someone who crosses you? My reputation? Jennifer repeated slowly. The reputation you're trying to destroy right now, you mean? I'm not trying to destroy anything, Kelly said, but her tone suggested otherwise. I'm trying to show people who you really are, underneath all the glitz and glamour. Jennifer stood up abruptly, her chair scraping against the floor. The sudden movement caused a ripple of tension through the studio audience. And who am I, Kelly? Since you seem to know me so well, why don't you tell everyone exactly who Jennifer Lopez really is? Kelly remained seated, looking up at Jennifer with a mixture of satisfaction and defiance. You're someone who's forgotten where you came from. You're someone who's let success go to your head. You're someone who treats people like they're disposable. You don't know anything about me, Jennifer said, her voice shaking with fury. You don't know what I've been through, what I've sacrificed, what I've had to overcome to get where I am. You sit here in your comfortable little studio, in your safe little world, and you judge me based on gossip and rumors. I judge you based on the evidence, Kelly countered. And the evidence suggests that success has turned you into exactly the kind of person you probably used to hate. Jennifer felt something snap inside her. The evidence? What evidence, Kelly? Show me this evidence. Show me these witnesses. Show me proof of even one of these stories you're telling. I don't have to prove anything to you, Kelly said coolly. This is my show, and I'll ask whatever questions I want to ask. Your show, Jennifer repeated. Right. This is your show, your platform, your audience, and you're using all of that to attack me for no reason other than your own entertainment. I'm using my platform to hold you accountable, Kelly said, her voice taking on a righteous tone. Someone has to. Accountable for what? Jennifer demanded. For being successful? For having standards? For expecting professionalism from the people I work with? For being cruel, Kelly said simply. For using your power to hurt people who can't defend themselves. The word cruel hit Jennifer like a physical blow. She had been called many things in her career. Diva, demanding, perfectionist. But cruel was something different. Cruel was personal. Cruel was meant to wound. I am not cruel, Jennifer said, her voice barely above a whisper. No, Kelly tilted her head. Then explain to me why so many people who've worked with you describe you exactly that way. Explain to me why your own staff turnover rate is so high. Explain to me why people in this industry warn each other about working with you. Jennifer felt tears beginning to prick at the corners of her eyes, but she refused to let them fall. Not here. Not in front of these cameras. Not in front of Kelly Clarkson's smug face. You want to know why people might find me difficult to work with? Because I care. Because I give everything I have to my work. And I expect the same from everyone around me. Because I refuse to accept mediocrity. And if someone can't live up to your impossible standards, Kelly pressed, then maybe they're in the wrong business, Jennifer said firmly. Or maybe you are, Kelly shot back. The silence that followed was deafening. Jennifer stared down at Kelly, her chest rising and falling with barely controlled anger. The audience seemed to collectively hold their breath, waiting to see what would happen next. You know what, Kelly? Jennifer said finally. I came here today thinking I was going to have a pleasant conversation with a fellow professional. I thought I was going to talk about my work, my projects, maybe share some laughs with your audience. Instead, I find myself being attacked by someone who clearly has some kind of personal vendetta against me. I don't have a vendetta, Kelly protested. I'm just asking the questions that need to be asked. No, Jennifer said, shaking her head. You're not asking questions. You're making accusations. You're repeating gossip. You're trying to humiliate me on national television, and I want to know why. Kelly's composure finally cracked slightly. Maybe because someone needs to call you out on your behavior. Maybe because too many people have suffered in silence while you've gotten away with treating them like garbage. Gotten away with what? Jennifer demanded. What exactly have I gotten away with, Kelly? What crime have I committed other than being successful in an industry that chews people up and spits them out? You've committed the crime of forgetting that other people are human beings, Kelly said, her voice rising to match Jennifer's intensity. You've committed the crime of thinking that just because you're famous, just because you're wealthy, just because you're Jennifer Lopez, you can treat people however you want without consequences. Jennifer felt the last of her patience evaporate. And you've committed the crime of thinking that just because you have a television show, you can destroy someone's reputation without any evidence or accountability. At least when I'm allegedly difficult, it's in private. You're doing this in front of millions of people. Good, Kelly said defiantly. Maybe it's time the world saw who you really are. And maybe it's time the world saw who you really are, too, Jennifer fired back. The caring, compassionate Kelly Clarkson everyone thinks they know, tearing apart another woman for sport. The words hung in the air like a challenge, and Jennifer could see something shift in Kelly's expression. For the first time since this nightmare began, Kelly looked genuinely rattled. The tables had turned, and now it was Kelly who was being called out for her behavior. "Excuse me," Kelly said, her voice tight with indignation. "I'm not tearing anyone apart. I'm holding you accountable for your actions." "No, you're not," Jennifer said, her voice gaining strength as she found her footing. "You're bullying me. You're using your platform, your home turf, your audience to attack me when I can't defend myself properly. You want to talk about power imbalances? This is it right here." Kelly's face flushed red. "I am not a bully. I'm a journalist doing my job." "A journalist?" Jennifer laughed bitterly. "Kelly, you're a talk show host. You sing songs and interview celebrities about their latest movies. When did you become an investigative journalist? When did you decide that ambushing guests was part of your job description? When celebrities like you started thinking they were above criticism," Kelly shot back. "When people like you started believing your own hype, so much that you forgot basic human decency." Jennifer took a step closer to Kelly's chair, her eyes blazing. "You want to talk about human decency? Let's talk about it. Where's the human decency in inviting someone to your show under false pretenses? Where's the human decency in attacking someone who came here as your guest?" "You're not my guest," Kelly said coldly. "You're a public figure who needs to be held accountable for her behavior." "By you?" Jennifer's voice was incredulous. "Who made you the moral authority here, Kelly? Who gave you the right to sit in judgment of me?" "The same people who gave you the right to treat everyone around you like servants," Kelly replied. "The public, the fans, the people who made both of us who we are." "The people who made us who we are would be disgusted by this," Jennifer said, gesturing around the studio. "They tune into your show to be entertained, to feel good, to escape from their problems for an hour. They don't tune in to watch you destroy someone for your own sick entertainment." Kelly stood up now, bringing herself eye to eye with Jennifer. "You think this is entertainment for me? You think I enjoy this?" "I think you're loving every second of it," Jennifer said without hesitation. "I think you've been planning this for weeks, maybe months. I think you saw an opportunity to take down someone bigger than you, and you couldn't resist." "Bigger than me?" Kelly's voice was dangerously quiet. "Is that what you think this is about? You think I'm jealous of you?" "I think you're threatened by me," Jennifer said bluntly. "I think you see someone who's been successful longer than you, someone who's accomplished more than you, and it eats at you." Kelly's eyes flashed with pure fury. "You arrogant, delusional woman. You think everything is about you, don't you? You think every criticism, every question, every challenge is just jealousy from people who wish they could be you. I think this entire interview has been about you trying to make yourself feel better by tearing me down," Jennifer replied. "I think you've been sitting in this chair for years, smiling and being nice, and you finally decided you wanted to show everyone how tough you could be." "You don't know anything about me," Kelly spat. "I know enough," Jennifer said. "I know that the Kelly Clarkson who won American Idol, who built her career on being the sweet girl next door, wouldn't recognize the person sitting in this chair right now. And the Jennifer Lopez, who used to be Jenny from the block, wouldn't recognize the diva standing in front of me," Kelly countered. Jennifer felt something inside her break. Jenny from the block. The phrase that had defined her early career, that had represented her connection to her roots, her authenticity. Hearing it weaponized against her like this was more painful than any of the other accusations Kelly had thrown at her. "Don't," Jennifer said, her voice barely controlled. "Don't you dare use that against me." "Why not?" Kelly pressed, sensing she had hit a nerve. "It's true, isn't it? You used to be Jenny from the block, the girl who remembered where she came from. Now you're Jennifer Lopez, the superstar who's too good for the little people." "Stop," Jennifer said, her voice shaking with emotion. "You used to be relatable," Kelly continued, relentlessly. "You used to be someone people could connect with. Now you're just another Hollywood princess who thinks the world revolves around her." "I said, stop," Jennifer repeated, her hands clenching into fists. "What happened to that girl, Jennifer?" Kelly asked mockingly. "What happened to Jenny? Did she get lost somewhere between the red carpets and the private jets? Did she disappear under all those designer clothes and diamond jewelry?" "Shut up," Jennifer said, tears finally beginning to spill down her cheeks. "Just shut up. Did she die the first time you screamed at an assistant for bringing you the wrong coffee? Did she disappear the first time you made someone cry just because you could? I said, shut up." Jennifer screamed, her composure finally shattering completely. The studio fell into stunned silence. Jennifer's scream echoed off the walls. And for a moment, nobody moved. Nobody breathed. Even Kelly seemed shocked by the intensity of Jennifer's reaction. Jennifer wiped her eyes with the back of her hand, smearing her makeup. When she looked up again, her expression was one of pure disgust. "You know what, Kelly? You win. You got what you wanted. You made me cry on national television. You humiliated me in front of your audience. You tore me down and made yourself feel important. Congratulations." Jennifer, I didn't mean to, Kelly started. But Jennifer cut her off. Don't, Jennifer said firmly. Don't you dare try to backtrack now. Don't you dare pretend like this wasn't exactly what you planned from the moment I walked in here. Jennifer turned toward her publicist, who was standing frozen in the wings. Get my things. We're leaving. Jennifer, wait, Kelly called after her. We can talk about this. We can work this out. Jennifer spun around one last time, her eyes blazing with a mixture of hurt and fury. Work this out. There's nothing to work out, Kelly. You showed me exactly who you are today, and I'm showing you exactly who I am. I'm someone who doesn't have to stand here and take abuse from someone who's supposed to be a professional. You're just going to walk away? Kelly asked, her voice rising with desperation. You're going to run away instead of facing the truth? I'm not running away from anything, Jennifer said, her voice steady despite her tears. I'm walking away from you. There's a difference. This interview isn't over, Kelly said, her voice taking on a threatening edge. You can't just leave in the middle of taping. Watch me, Jennifer said simply. She turned toward the exit, her heels clicking against the studio floor with each determined step. The audience watched in stunned silence as one of the biggest stars in the world walked away from what was supposed to be a friendly daytime interview. Jennifer, Kelly called after her, but Jennifer didn't turn around. She kept walking, her head held high despite the tears streaming down her face. As she reached the edge of the stage, Jennifer paused for just a moment. Without turning around, she spoke loud enough for everyone in the studio to hear. I hope this was worth it, Kelly. I hope destroying me was worth destroying yourself. And with that, Jennifer Lopez walked off Kelly Clarkson's show, leaving behind a studio full of shocked audience members, a host who had pushed too far, and a moment that would be talked about for years to come. Kelly stood alone on her stage, watching as the biggest guest she had ever landed disappeared through the exit doors. The silence in the studio was deafening, broken only by the sound of her own ragged breathing and the distant echo of Jennifer's heels on the hallway floor. The cameras kept rolling, capturing every second of Kelly's stunned expression as she realized what she had just done. She had gotten exactly what she thought she wanted. But now, standing in the wreckage of what had once been her reputation as America's sweetheart, she wasn't sure the victory had been worth the cost. What do you think pushed Kelly Clarkson over the edge? Was this a calculated attack or something more personal? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more explosive celebrity drama that you won't see anywhere.